Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. Congressman Kiko Barzaga suspended for 60 days. The House of Representatives approves the recommendation of the Ethics Committee, citing Barzaga's supposed reckless, offensive, and irresponsible use of his social media platform. How did the ethics panel come to their decision? Let's get on point with House Ethics Committee Chairperson, four-piece party list Representative J.C. Abalos. Congressman Abalos, thank you for your time. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good evening, Pinky. Thank you so much for inviting me.
So let me continue on with that question. How did you come up with this decision?
Well, of course, we first received a complaint from 29 House members last September 17, and we had extensive deliberations and hearings, and we came up with our committee report last December 1, where we recommended a penalty of suspension for 60 days against Representative Kiko Barzaga. So during this time, Ma'am Pinky, we made sure that due process would be observed. We gave both parties an opportunity to conciliate, to possibly conciliate. And in spite of the respondent's absences, or may mga times na naging late siya, we still gave him an opportunity to present his defense. We scheduled special hearings in order for him to exercise his right to cross-examine the witnesses of the complainants.
Who are the witnesses of the complainants?
Well, the witnesses of the complainants presented a few representatives, particularly Representative Daza, Representative Valerian.
Okay, so they were the ones that, because it's a lot of NUP, members of the
Yes.
NUP, who filed the complaint against Congressman Kiko Barzaga. So I wanted to kind of really understand more what happens during those proceedings. So you were saying the complainant and the respondent are both given ample time and opportunity to be able to defend the complaint, and for the respondent to defend on his own. That's how I understand it.
Yes, that is correct.
Congressman, what was the defense of Congressman Kiko Barzaga?
Congressman Kiko Barzaga didn't deny posting all of the subject social media posts. The primary defense invoked by him is the freedom of expression as enshrined in Article 3 of the Philippine Constitution.
How did you strike a balance there between freedom of expression and the decision of the Ethics Committee to suspend him for 60 days on reckless and inflammatory social media posts?
Well, Representative Barzaga was ultimately found liable for violating Republic Act 6713, which is the Code of Ethics and Conduct, Rule 20 of the House Rules, which touches upon the conduct that is expected upon the member of the House, and we all approved these rules. And finally, he was found guilty of disorderly behavior.
Isa-isahin po natin, Congressman, because there are 24 social media posts that were included or that form part of this decision of the Ethics Committee. Let's discuss them. One would be the lewd photos. Would that be correct,
Yes.
sir? And then the other one is the ostentatious display of wealth.
Yes.
And the other one is the critical posts against the government. So what was his response regarding the lewd photos? Because I know that when he was asked about this, he was saying that that was in the past.
Yes.
That was before he became congressman, rather.
Yes. First of all, thank you, Ma'am Pinky, for asking that question. You see, the decision of the Committee on Ethics on this case, it's very crucial because we have to strike a line between the genuine exercise of the freedom of expression versus disorderly conduct disguised as freedom of expression. So the committee found that none of his posts are considered as a genuine exercise of this constitutionally protected right. Because, as you have mentioned, lewd posts have nothing to do with our functions as a legislator, and it does not reflect the dignity of the institution. as well as the ostentatious display of wealth. And he has made utterances that that promote distrust against government institutions.
Okay.
I would like, yes,
Go ahead, sir.
yes, I would like to make it clear. There's nothing wrong about being critical of the government. There's nothing wrong about being part of the opposition. Kung titingnan po natin, Ma'am Pinky, ang composition ng House, ang aming mga members, may iba't ibang partido, may iba't ibang constituencies, may iba't ibang paniniwala. And we have engaged in constructive dialogue with one another in a professional manner, with candor and respect. So we are not punishing Kiko Barzaga for criticisms against the government. What we are punishing here is disorderly behavior.
Okay, so I want to focus on that. You said there's nothing wrong with being critical of the government. In fact, that's why you have the majority and even the minority. What posts did you see among the 24 social media posts that went way too far and is not legitimately okay to be included as just being critical to the government? Ano ho yung kanyang post na hindi na po tama?
Yes. Well, if we were to take a look at the minutes of the adjudicatory hearing, the respondent didn't make any denial about posting those social media posts. In fact, he admitted being the author of these posts, and he merely raised the constitutional protection on the freedom of expression. That is why all these 24 posts were requested to be taken down by Kiko Barzaga. Tulad ng sabi niyo po, Ma'am Pinky, yun, yung lewd posts na pinapahiya ang dignidad ng ating kababaihan, wala naman po yung kinalaman sa trabaho namin as congressmen. Ostentatious displays of wealth, wala rin yung kinalaman. When it comes to criticizing the government, for example, kapag meron kang insinuations na susunugin yung House, hindi po yan constructive political criticism. Kapag sasabihin po natin na magdadala po tayo, for example, ng airsoft sa mga rally, hindi rin po ito katanggap-tanggap. So ito po ang mga examples, Ma'am Pinky, kung bakit po napagpasyahan ng Committee on Ethics na disorderly conduct po.
Okay. Yung pong kanyang post na critical sa gobyerno, one was, as you mentioned a while ago, and I'll read it, naiintindihan kong galit kayo, pero kung susunugin nyo ang Kongreso, bigyan mo sana kami ng oras para i-evacuate yung mga workers at importanteng dokumento doon. He also said, huwag nyo sunugin ang House of Representatives bukas, may privileged speech pa ako sa Lunes. When he obviously admitted to this and didn't deny it, was there any other explanation, Congressman Abalos, as to why he posted these?
Well, Ma'am Pinky, as a matter of fact, during the cross-examinations, we were going around in circles. It always revolved around the freedom of expression, everything being subjective, depende kung paano i-interpret ng nakakabasa niyan. Pero para sa amin po, Ma'am Pinky, when you are an elected public official, you are held to a higher standard. You know, ordinary citizens are afforded a wide latitude in the exercise of the freedom of speech. Rightfully so, and we must protect that and defend that at all times. If you're an elected public official, all of our words, all of our actions, they carry weight and authority, and they may have political and legal consequences. That is why we must be cautious and we must be respectful of the code of conduct.
I guess, Congressman, even the fact that you make a bomb joke, authorities will catch you. Hindi ho ba? Would that be, would you say that would be a parallelism to, wag niyo munang sunugin ang Kongreso, meron pa akong privileged speech sa Lunes?
You see, the freedom of speech, you're right, Ma'am Pinky, it is not absolute. It stops when you impede on the dignity and the safety of others.
I want to go back to that, okay, you responded to that, sir, yung being critical of the government. Meron din ho kasi siyang mga, kaya ganyan si Pangulo, kailangan magpaalam sa kanyang pinsan. But balikan ko lang po yung lewd photos kasi I recall he was saying that matagal na yun bago pa siya maging congressman noon. That while it's still there, it was rather, still in his social media account, why is that tantamount to him as one of the reasons being suspended for 60 days. Yun po yung tanong ko. Can you clarify that for me, please?
Well, according to the complaint, the complainants alleged that it should be considered as a continuing violation because when he assumed his congressional title, he retained these photos. And according to the complainants, these do not reflect the values of the House of Representatives. Instead of making an absolute denial on these posts, respondent merely claimed the freedom of expression as a defense. That is why we admitted the same. And we asked Representative Barzaga to take it down. And of course, Ma'am Pinky, I would also like to inform the general public that the pronouncement of the Philippine Commission on Women were also formed part of the minutes of our deliberations.
Because, well, that obviously for the lewd photos. And there was also a post on Bakit May Women's Month? Di ho ba? Wala namang men's month. Parang ganun po. Gusto nyo ba yung men's nyo ay isang buwan? Something to that effect.
Something like that.
Yeah, I don't recall very clearly what exactly he said, but ganun po yung angulo nung kanyang post. So, okay, the demand was for the congressman to take down these 24 social media posts. If not, harsher penalties will be meted out against Congressman Kiko Barzaga. And from last we checked, I believe he took down the 24 social media posts already. Is this something you can confirm?
Yes, I asked my committee secretariat regarding this matter, and I was informed that Representative Barzaga took down the 24 posts. And I commend him for abiding by the ruling of the plenary.
So right now, because of that, we can be assured, or he can rather be assured, that after 60 days, he will be back in Congress.
Representative Barzaga is still a representative of the House, and he must conduct himself in a manner that reflects the dignity and integrity that should be expected of an elected official of the land.
Okay. But still, sir, my previous question, after 60 days, is there an assurance that he will be back in the House?
It would actually depend on how he behaves in the next 60 days. But as far as I'm concerned, according to our committee report, he would probably be back after 60 days.
Are you saying that if there are social media posts that might be contradictory to how you are supposed to perform as a public official, etc., that might trigger an extension of the suspension on the congressman?
No. The Committee on Ethics cannot automatically acquire jurisdiction over these incidents. First of all, it must be brought up by a member or any citizen, and the committee must vote upon majority of its members to acquire jurisdiction over it.
So unless somebody files a complaint, that is the only time that the Ethics Committee will look into this. Wala pong motu proprio.
Meron po tayong motu proprio, pero tulad po ng sabi ko, it must be raised via a motion during a committee hearing.
Okay, got it, sir. All right. So, but that was just the demand for now, to take out those 24 social media posts.
Yes.
All right. Next, sir, wasn't there also a counter-ethics complaint that was filed by Congressman Kiko Barzaga against Deputy Speaker Puno, sir?
Yes. And when the committee voted on it, the committee found that it was defective in form and in substance, and we actually returned to him the complaint in order to give him a chance to make the necessary corrections.
Why was it deficient in form and substance?
Well, ma'am, according to our rules, all of our processes, all of our documents are deemed confidential. So until it is declassified, then I could share with you the specifics. But for now, I could assure you, Ma'am Pinky, that for all complaints, not just the counter-complaint of Representative Barzaga against Representative Puno, marami na po tayong binabalik na complaints ng mga complainant at binibigyan po namin sila ng pagkakataon na i-correct yun. Kasi sa aking pagkakaalala, may mga sinight pong violations of law si respondent. Kaso lang po, the specific acts complained of weren't indicated in the complaint. So yun lamang po ang hinihingi namin. That way, at least makakapag-conduct kami ng tamang investigation in accordance with our rules and processes.
And when you returned it to him, when was that, Congressman? And did he reply to that?
I think it was a couple of months ago, and he didn't correct the complaint anymore.
Is that deemed dead?
Well, he could still file if he wishes so.
But with regards to the earlier counter complaint, is there a time frame by which, when you return a complaint because it's flawed, or it's flawed basically on form and substance, is there a time frame by which the complainant should be able to correct that particular complaint?
If I am not mistaken, Ma'am Pinky, I don't know if it's 10 days, but I believe it is without prejudice to filing a correct complaint. And this is very important because ethics complaints should not be taken lightly. As I've said a while ago, any citizen can file a complaint. Any head of agency can file a complaint. And it would be a disservice to our people if we would be dismissing cases that not on the merits. So
Yeah.
everyone is given a chance to correct their complaints.
Especially if it's deficient in form and substance, kailangan meron po silang pagkakataon na maayos po ito.
Yes, at sayang naman po, Ma'am Pinky, kung hindi na sila mabibigyan ng pagkakataong kasuhan ang mga taong liable dahil lang sa isang procedural defect.
Congressman, as a last question, has anyone else filed a complaint against Congressman Kiko Barzaga?
Well, according to our rules, Ma'am Pinky, I cannot confirm or deny the existence of any complaint. But one thing I can tell is that we don't have any pending case in our dockets. Everything is moving, and should anyone file a complaint against an incumbent member of the House of Representatives, we are ready to take action on it anytime, and we will accomplish it within 60 days pursuant to our rules.
I know you said that it's confidential, but when you say that there's nothing in your docket, ano ho ibig sabihin nun?
Well, ano po, Ma'am Pinky, lahat po sila dinedeliberate. And of course, wala po kaming pending na case ngayon.
Okay, so that makes me think that there is no further complaint against him. Would that be
Or
fair, sir?
there might be ongoing deliberations, pero wala pong natutulog na kaso sa Committee on Ethics.
I see. That's why I wanted a clarification on that, because you said that there could be ongoing deliberations.
Yes.
So posibleng meron po at posibleng wala.
Yeah. Yes.
I didn't know that was confidential, sir.
Yes, we must remember, Ma'am Pinky, the Committee on Ethics, it's a quasi-judicial and quasi-political act. Quasi-judicial because we are guided by evidence and our internal rules. Quasi-political because our power emanates from the Constitution. So we must be very careful and delicate in this exercise to discipline our colleagues. In other jurisdictions, confidential rin po, Ma'am Pinky, ang mga ethics complaint dahil maaaring maging highly political ang ganitong mga bagay. At nararapat lamang na kailangan proteksyonan natin ang integridad ng ebidensya, ang integridad ng complainant, lalo-lalo na po kung private yan, pati na rin po ang mga defendant.
Lastly, sir, sorry, I need to bring this in. There was a statement made by Congressman Leviste who voted against the suspension. Basically, sinasabi niya, inuuna pa tong ethics complaint kaysa imbestigahan ang mga kapwa congressman that are supposedly or allegedly involved in the flood control scandal. Please respond to that, sir.
You know, I commend Representative Leviste, Representative San Fernando, maski mga nag-vote ng no sa aming ethics recommendation dahil totoo po ang kanilang sinasabi. Mas mabigat at mas malaki po ang pananagutan ng mga opisyal na sangkot sa mga maanumalyang infrastructure projects. Mas mabigat po yan. Dapat hindi po natin tinatalikuran na ang accountability sa mga opisyal na lumalabag po dito dahil mas mabigat yan compared sa ethics complaint. Pero kami po sa Committee on Ethics, kung may pagkukulang ang isang mambabatas, maliit man o malaki, kailangan po natin ayusin yan because these are not mutually exclusive terms. Yung accountability when it comes to good governance, pagdating doon sa mga infrastructure projects, at yung accountability namin sa pag-observe ng proper conduct and decorum sa House of Representatives.
So are you conducting a motu proprio investigation on congressmen or women who are allegedly involved in the flood control scandal?
We did at some point, but the same was mooted because the respondent in the said case resigned. We had an initial deliberation on the matter, pero nag-resign po ang respondent. For now, we are awaiting.
Are you talking about Zaldico, sir?
Yes, that is correct. Now we are closely monitoring the investigations. Kung sakaling may mag-arise na complaint, handa po ang Committee on Ethics tugunan ng mga kasong yan.
May mag-arise na complaint. That's the time that you will move.
Or when any member would raise it by motion, then we will be
Okay.
acting upon it.
Got it. House Ethics Committee Chairperson Representative J.C. Abalos, sir, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
We'll be taking a short break. When we return, we'll speak with one of the House lawmakers who opposed the suspension of Congressman Kiko Barzaga. Stay tuned. This is On Point. Welcome back. Let's get on point with Quezon City Representative Bong Suntay, one of the House lawmakers who opposed the suspension of Congressman Kiko Barzaga. Congressman Suntay, welcome to the show. I'm going to already ask the first question. Why did you oppose the 60-day suspension on Congressman Barzaga, sir?
Well, my vote was not with regards to the personality. I was not trying to defend Representative Kiko Barzaga. My primary consideration and concern was to defend the freedom of speech, which is enshrined in our Constitution, which for me is very, very important that we uphold.
Freedom of speech. I think, according to Congressman J.C. Abalos, during my interview, that was also the defense of Congressman Kiko Barzaga. But let's go into some of the social media posts, especially with regard to the House, when he said this. Let me just pull that up, sir. Naiintindihan kong galit kayo, pero kung susunugin niyo ang Kongreso, bigyan mo sana kami ng oras para evacuate yung mga workers at important documents doon. Another post was, huwag niyong sunugin ang House of Representatives bukas. May privileged speech pa ako sa Lunes. So let me ask you, Congressman Bong, is that acceptable to you as a member of the House?
Well, as a member of the House, while the freedom of speech is not absolute, there are certain degrees. There's a test naman which can be used if the speech or what was uttered was overbound. Yung statements niya were, I believe, in reaction to statements of other people na parang sunugin na yung Kongreso. Parang it was just a rhetoric, an answer to questions, and I don't even think that they're saying this thing.
So, because it's a response to a previous statement, does that make it acceptable?
I don't see that it was truly out of bounds. Mas madami pa ako. I was a member of Congress during the 18th Congress, and there were more severe utterances made na hindi naman nasa-sanction, which was accepted under because of the freedom of speech.
How would you describe his statement then?
As I mentioned, the utterance of the response, it was not an instigation. It was not even meant to incite people na sunugin talaga yung
Okay.
with Congress. And as I mentioned, the very essence of democracy, being able to say things or utter things that the people feel. If we start curtailing the right of people to make statements, we are killing the very essence of democracy. Especially, representatives are elected to become voice of the people in their district, to be able to say the things that what their constituent feels.
Okay.
Now, if we prevent those things from happening, then I think it would pose a bigger problem in our society, especially if we want our democracy to flourish. Protecting speech is not just protecting when the speech is comfortable, when the speech is in support of the administration of the government. I believe if we want to really protect free speech, we have to protect it, even if it is uncomfortable, even if it is words which criticizes what we do.
Okay, just a last thought on that. When you say naiintindihan ko ang galit nyo, pero kung susunugin nyo ang Kongreso, bigyan mo sana kami ng oras para evacuate. It's almost as if a House member is actually saying, it's okay, you want to do it, go ahead. Pero give us a warning naman. Would you agree?
Yeah, but I don't think that it was something very serious. When and during that time, I don't think that Batasan was even threatened. Wala naman rally sa labas ng Batasan Pambansa at that time. There hasn't been any rallies near Batasan since Pasola.
All right, let me move on though. So I think, no, sorry, let me repeat that. The Congressman Kiko Barzaga had actually taken down the 24 posts that were used to suspend him for 60 days because ang sabi po ni Congressman J.C. Abalos, if he doesn't do it, there will be harsher penalties. So a quick reaction from your end now that Congressman Kiko has actually taken down those social media posts.
I'm also very happy that he has voluntarily taken it down. But because of this, it releases some of the tensions between him and the other House members who feel that it was not proper for a legislator to do. While I agree, I agree that there are certain decorums that a House member, a legislator should follow. I still feel that that decorum, if it is still within the bounds of reason, bounds of law, within the bounds of law, and it still has to be protected.
Congressman, do you think that the decision that came out was done in a manner that was a little bit fast? It was fast-paced ho ba para sa inyo? Mabilis ho bang nagkaroon ng desisyon hinggil dito because it was filed, actually, I think, September 17. Go ahead, sir.
Actually, Pinky, nagulat din ako doon sa bilis dahil I remember attending one of the Committee on Ethics hearing last Monday last week. Hindi nag-attend si Representative Kiko Barzaga because apparently yung lawyer niya was sick. And there was actually a motion to consider him as some way this right to confront the witness presented against him. Actually, I raised the manifestation. Tinanong ko kasi if kung ilang beses na si Representative Barzaga hindi nag-attend ng hearing.
Opo.
And the answer was it was the first time. So sabi ko parang we also have given a procedural due process. If it was just the first time na hindi siya nag-appear doon sa committee hearing, I think we should not outright consider him some way this right.
Because of one absence.
Just because of one absence. At later on naman, Pinky, napagbigyan naman yun, they set another hearing for Wednesday, which is within 48 hours na pwedeng mag-set ng committee ng another hearing. So, nag-hearing sila ng 48, yun yung adjudicatory hearing. So, I think marami din nagulat dahil Wednesday yung hearing. Tapos noon, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Tapos Lunes, may decision na.
Last question, Congressman. Do you think it was a fair decision?
If you ask me, as I mentioned, while proper decorum should be observed, para sa akin, hindi rin pwedeng hayaan na gagawin niya yun, na hindi man lang sa mapagsasabihan. I think what would have been a fair penalty would have been a reprimand.
Okay.
He should have been reprimanded rather than
suspension.
For 2 months.
Quezon City Representative Bong Suntay, sir, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And that's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.